Welcome to another edition of From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio, hosted by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note, and I'm here with my two regular co-hosts, JV and Mr. I've seen more in a night than you've seen in your life, Stroke.
No. It's slightly differently today. Mister, don't ever try and tell me that Ederson's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. Don't ever try and disrespect any other goalkeeper. I don't want to hear it.
Yo, we gonna get into that. We can't be reactionary with this, but I do have a take on the goalkeeper. But we do have a special guest calling in, so we will get to that.
Guest?
So a very, very, very special guest. We need a United stand royalty. United stand OG.
Yeah.
Royalty out here.
Royalty out here for real, isn't it? Like one of the most hardworking people I know.
Trendsetter.
I see him everywhere. Trendsetter, you feel me? Like it's not just holding a lens, you get me? So shout out to Cameraman Miles in there. Give him a round of applause. Round of applause. But yeah, man. How you doing, Cameraman Miles? You good?
All good, man. Obviously, I'm still living off the hype of yesterday and that. Made it back to London, where I live quite in the early hours of this morning, but yeah. I'm all good, man. Still buzzing off that result.
Yeah, very big result. See, one thing I want to ask you: where do you stand on Ollie? Because
man went straight into it.
Yeah. Just like because of how good the result is. First of all, are you Ollie in or Ollie out?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'm definitely more on the Ollie outside. I just don't think he has what it takes to kind of lead us for years to come. I think I see a lot of flaws in his game, in his management style, even the way he addresses press conferences and addresses the media and things like that. I just don't see him as the guy. He's a bit too wishy-washy, too nice, too smiley. There have been moments where he's kind of laid into players like you see like Lingard and even Dan James yesterday when he didn't pass back to Bruno Fernandes and whatnot. Yeah. You do see a bit of a ruthless streak with him, but I think we don't see that enough in the media. He doesn't show himself to be a strong, dominant character. And then you look at his tactics and I'm just like, nah, this guy isn't it for me.
Yeah, his tactics are non-existent because I've seen you slowly turn on social media in terms of being Ollie out, because before you wasn't really you was more so like you said, you was on the fence and you was kind of like, all right, let's see where this goes. But I've seen you slowly come to the dark side and and be tweeting out, because obviously I'm all for United propaganda. I love it across social media. But I seen you, obviously it's a tweet that I quote tweeted from you and it was a gift, and someone had said, when someone says, what have the Ollie Brigade got to say now? And you kind of tweeted out, I can't remember the gif you used, but it was kind of like, the gif was you rolling your eyes type of thing. So I can see that you have So what would it take for you to be fully Ollie out since we started here? Because you are over here, innit? You're just not all the way over here.
Yeah. Well, I was actually fully Ollie out, I'd say a couple of months back when the results were just shocking, like losing to Burnley, losing to Watford. And the thing is, what people don't realise is that obviously you watch it on TV and you make up your mind, but I have to go to every game. I have to travel to Manchester. All right, no one told me to be a London United fan, but I have to travel to Manchester and watch that crap. And then so when I make up my mind and say, you know what, Ollie isn't the guy for me, and I've got people coming at me on Twitter, I have to have that dialogue with them, because it's like you're not the frustration. You might not have the same frustration as me, because I've got to go there, watch the crap football, watch us go and lose to Burnley, lose to Watford, and whoever else we've lost to this season. Just to have someone say, oh yeah, but we beat City and we beat this big team or we beat that big team. So I definitely was fully Ollie out at one point. But I think the recent results have not really made me change my mind. I definitely don't think he's the right guy.
Don't be a prisoner. Please, Miles, don't be a prisoner of the moment. Don't do that. Don't do that, man. Please,
I know what you're saying.
Don't be a prisoner. I'm all for it. I loved it yesterday. It was great. I even couldn't fully enjoy it because I know
I enjoyed it.
We've been here. Oh yeah, obviously, as you are the Liverpool fan, enjoy it. I've been here before. We've had this our fan base, and this is not you, Miles, but our fan base, it seems in general, especially on social media, is very reactionary. We literally had this happen. We played. It was a few months ago, and we beat City. We beat Spurs at Old Trafford and we beat City away. And fans were up in awe. And then the next two games was Everton and Watford. And I said on this show, we're going to draw against Everton and lose to Watford. Yep. And that's exactly what happened. We just beat City. Who's the next game now after them? We got Spurs. We
got
beat
Tottenham.
we beat Spurs away. The fans are going to be in uproar.
Oh,
but then we
yeah,
could,
that's mad.
even though everyone's talking about, United have a favourable running, which we do. I could easily see us messing up that running. It's an easy. Remember when Arsenal used to have that? Arsenal used to always have that towards the end of the season where people would be like, Arsenal have the easiest running, and then they'd always mess up and go lose to a Burnley away or something of that nature, or Southampton at home. That's us. I have zero faith in our regime.
I think I see where Miles is going. That he's saying he's seeing the. If I'm right, I don't want to speak for you, but is it that you can see the positives in him, not necessarily in him as a long-term manager, but for the rest of the season? You know what I mean? There's like literally the victory yesterday. That's a big positive.
It's a big positive, but the reason why I don't look at him, I just look at that as the majority of our victories are, and you will probably know this, Miles, because I think you've said this a lot as well. It's always individual brilliance. That's what we rely on. It's never a team thing. Like, it's easy as a Manchester United player to get up for a derby against City, who are really playing for nothing.
Does it just paper over the cracks? Is my question.
Yes, and the cracks are and the cracks are massive. I mean, like, cracks are
because obviously
the cracks are Grand Canyon size, but go on.
No, because obviously we spoke about it on the training. Some of his substitutions and his decision making in that game shows to me that he is not cut out to be a Manchester United manager. I want him to stay. Give him a lifetime contract. But he's not. But like, real talk, he's not cut out to be a Manchester United manager. He nearly cost you that game yesterday.
He did.
Quite easily.
He did.
With them substitutions, which were ridiculous, by the way.
I don't know why Dan James was on for the full game. Why you take off Martial? Yeah, I know. We'll get into that, because I seen you on the player ratings and people was giving him 7s and 8s, and shout out to the whole United stand massive. But how you can watch that game and give Dan James a 7 or 8? Because he is a great outlet, don't get him mistaken, but he didn't do anything with it. All he did was pass the ball to Fred for the should have been penalty. That was literally
He's in the wrong profession, you know.
Who? Dan James.
Dan James. He's just an athlete.
See that? I think he's just been used. I thought about it and I was like, and I've said this again, previous shows as always, which is a common theme. He is a squad player. Imagine roles were reversed and United were a goal up and Dan James is the one coming on.
Well,
is that not perfect?
You see the point? See, after he didn't pass that to Fernandes yesterday, and we had Pundit Jay on a few weeks ago, and he said Fernandes is a player we have to sell if we get in the Champions League. And at the time,
James,
I thought that was Dan James. Sorry, said Dan James is a player we'd have to sell. And at the time, I thought that was quite harsh. But you see, if Dan James doesn't pass that there in a semi-final, quarter-final, that type of decision making there, that can lose you the game.
That's true.
Do you get what I mean? That could lose you at a final. Do you know what I mean? That is why, and I understand what Pundit J was meaning by now, he's not of that level. He's
not, but that's why he shouldn't be in a Manchester United Champions League semi-final, final, quarter-final. He should not be starting.
I think he'd even do that in the, never mind Champions League, we'll see that in the Europa League.
Yeah, he shouldn't be starting. That's my issue, is that if he's coming, like McTominay coming off the bench there, perfect for me. That's the type of player you want. I have no issue with McTominay coming off the bench. I have no issue with Dan James. Dan James is perfect when a team's pressing up against you and chasing the game. He's perfect on the break. The issue I have is him starting.
If we have a fit Rashford.
That's what I'm saying.
And then
you bring on the last player you want to see coming off on the bench, coming from the bench, is Dan James.
Yeah.
With 20 minutes to go and you're chasing the game. But it is what it is. Well, I know you're not a fan of him, because I've heard you say many a time, Miles, that pace doesn't excite you.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday was for me.
Yeah, you sound stressed already.
Because you know what? Do you know what it is? Because on the way back from the game, me and Flex just kind of going back and forth about Dan James, because Flex could see why in that game Dan James worked in terms of what Ollie was thinking, and I did hear his point when he was explaining it to me. But for me, he, in terms of his qualities, the only thing he brought to the game was pace.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, he doesn't beat a man. He's not able to beat a man. He's got no strength. And I know people say he wins fouls, but that's because he's got no strength. So he's not actually actively trying to win fouls.
Sorry to cut you off. That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, no, it's true. He's not like a Hazard who's tactically winning a foul. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Stop me if I'm chatting rubbish, but
sorry, that's cracked to you. Go on.
He's not actively winning. He's not a player who is actually trying to win a foul. He's only getting fouls because the second he gets shoulder to shoulder with someone, he goes flying.
He
because he's
almost
got no
looks
strength.
like you'd think he was like a 16-year-old. Do you know,
youngster.
physique-wise, he looks like someone, even experience-wise, sometimes in those situations, his whole physique, everything, he looks like someone who's just playing their first, 5 or 6 matches.
I understand what you're saying.
I have a question,
Yeah, go on.
and obviously this is to you as well, Miles. Do you think he's been let down,
Yeah.
coaching-wise? Because I made this point a long time ago on the show, was I genuinely believe if he was at Leeds under Bielsa, he'd be a lot better player than what he is now.
Big facts. I'll let Miles answer that first, but yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm struggling to hear my man at the back. That's the only thing.
Oh, is it?
What are you saying? Can you not hear me?
Nah, not really. I can hear everyone else cool, but you're just a bit quiet.
Go on.
Yo, can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Yeah. What I was saying was, do you think he's been let down, management-wise and coaching-wise? Because I'm saying if he was at Leeds under Bielsa, I think Dan James would be a lot better player.
Yeah, but then Richard, I mean, you do have a point, but then the only reason he might become a better player is because he's having more time in the Championship, which is his level at the moment. I think the Premier League is too big of a jump for him. I think obviously he will get better, but under a manager like, under any kind of manager in the Championship and whatnot, I think he would get better because he would probably, obviously he's still young and he needs to kind of develop and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Championship is definitely his level. I think the Premier League is too big a step for him, but he was never meant to be a star. That's the main thing about us.
Yeah.
I've said that.
That's the thing. He was brought to be someone who's going to learn and whatnot, but then you've got injuries to Rashford and whatnot, and so he's had to be thrown in. So for that sense, fair play to him. He's trying to, do the best he can with the position he's been given. But at the same time, people need to remember that he's not meant to be the guy who's starting games for us.
That's true. And that's been my point on it, is that even though I don't believe he is good enough to be starting for Manchester United, we are judging him as a starter when he was brought in. As a squad player, he's supposed to be coming off the bench for the last 20 minutes, playing in League Cup games, playing in FA Cup games. He shouldn't be starting at home in a Manchester derby. He shouldn't be starting away in a Manchester derby, like away to Liverpool. Like, he shouldn't be at that level, and we're expecting him to perform week in, week out, 7s and 8s and 9s out of 10, and he's come straight from the Championship. And you made the point, JV, about it's not like he was 150, 200 games deep in the Championship.
Yeah.
That was his first season.
Yeah, he literally just broke through. He had
broke
that
through.
one game against City where he looked electric and he was just Otamendi, but anyone can tear
But
Otamendi
then
apart.
even if you look at what he did in that City game, there was nothing
Spectacular.
spectacular. There's nothing like, there's nothing what he's not done at United. Everything what he's done in that game, he's done for us.
Yeah.
It was simply just pace.
It was simply, but that's where the coaching aspect comes in, where if you can add in a trick, and I'm not saying add in 1,000,000 step overs, but at least a drop of the shoulder.
Drop a shoulder.
No,
Being
so it's
able
not
to
even
go
that. So you
to
look,
the
so
side,
you
that
look
type of
at
thing.
you
And
look
movement,
at
go on.
you look at Traore, right?
Yeah.
Because we spoke about this the other week. Last season, all he had was pace, pace. Had no end product. I look at Dan James, very similar. Pace, no end product. Traore worked on it
If not worse.
under Nuno. Do you know what I mean? He worked under it under Nuno, and now he's got end product. And you see him getting assists. You see him making big impacts in games like City when they were at home and they beat City. He was a massive part of that. Yeah. They could have beat us when we went there.
But again, that goes down again to what we don't have in terms of a system which helps, so you know what to do, when to
That
pass and to
system
run.
is perfect
Fit
for
him.
Traore.
And coaching as well. He's being helped individually and he's being helped by his teammates. Because Wolves, everyone knows, a blind man could see how Wolves are going to set up. Everyone knows how Wolves play, how they set up. This is why it's no accident that Moutinho scores so many goals from outside the box.
Yeah,
They create space for him to shoot. How many times we see Jimenez score the same type of goal, Jota score the same type of goal? Like, that's worked on. Obviously, we've said this many a time on the show. That's worked on time and time again.
Well, that's why I said I think he's been let down by the management.
I agree. Yeah, he has been. He's not the only one. I put Lingard in that category too.
But you see, like, you know what? One point on what I get over about Solskjaer. Everyone talks about is like he's 10 years deep as a manager. This and that. It's not the years. It's not the years. It's the experience.
Yeah, you can have 10 years managing in the conference. That don't mean nothing.
It don't mean nothing. His 10 years of what he's done is, everyone compares him to like, Lampard's. His 10 years is probably not even equivalent to Lampard's career.
It's not in terms of, but like I said, all I'm asking for, like I said, if Ollie came in and would have been getting these type of results, but I could see the style of play and I could see a pattern of play, I'd be off his case because I'm like, at least you have a plan.
All right then, but can you make a plan when your first job? Well, maybe not. All right,
Yeah.
let's discount mold, because I don't think that was your chance
I know,
to make
I know where you're
mold.
going with this.
But
yeah.
can you have a style of play and a plan when you're literally in a relegation battle? That's literally what his whole Cardiff thing is, relegation
Philosophy, yeah, you can, because we have managers who have used their style to get out of that.
No, but they've already had that. Do you understand what I'm saying? They've had a pre-existing.
They had a pre-existing
style.
but them man started with that though. He has no starting point.
That's what I mean.
He's never it doesn't matter how do I put this? Like Mourinho team is gonna play like a Mourinho team. An Allardyce team is gonna play like an Allardyce team.
Whether
it's top of the league or they're
bottom of
20th,
the league,
or they're in the
yeah.
championship. Ollie has zero style.
Yeah. No, I'm
That's
not
what
defending
saying.
him, but
so
this is
that's
what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying when I say you don't need to be good. You don't need to be a good manager. Norwich are bottom of the league, gonna get relegated. Their manager has a style though.
The only time
It's just not successful.
The only time I've ever seen him not kind of have a style, but a game plan is the big games, which is the 5 at the back. That's the only time. And you know what? And look at the results he's got.
Yeah.
Lo and behold.
Yeah, that's true. But I put that more so, I said, that goes back to my first point of individual brilliance. I think the players just step up for that and go into autopilot.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I think they go into autopilot. Your Fernandes,
But do you know
your
why?
Martials.
Do you know why I think they're able to go into autopilot?
Why? Go on.
Because that formation
That is our best formation.
suits every individual player who's playing on that pitch in that moment yesterday, or every time we play that formation, they're playing in their best position.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
That's a fair
Brandon
point.
Williams, he's probably a lot better with the assurance of
Luke
don't
Shaw
get me
behind
wrong,
him.
I think he's an excellent player. He's a lot better with the assurance of someone like Luke Shaw behind him, or even the back three. Wan-Bissaka, he's coming along as an attacker.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I hear what you're saying.
He's still an excellent right back, but in that system where he knows he can have a bit more freedom, that suits him better.
Yeah, I hear
Bruno is given a free role. Martial is given a platform now to work off with Bruno. Do you get what I mean? And then having someone, even though him and James aren't, they don't work together really as a two up front. We seen yesterday just them occupying
Spaces.
gives a platform. Do you know what I mean? Well, I'd say personally for me, Lindelof's better in a free.
I think all our centre backs are better in a
Yeah,
free.
do you get what I mean?
Miles, do you think the 3-5-2 or 5-3-2 is United's best formation?
It's a tricky one. I mean, I prefer the 4-3-3 more. But then, if you're talking about playing against the bigger teams, then it does work because obviously it's a more defensive formation, and then you can kind of counter attack with it. And that seems to be Ollie's style for most of the season. Is that whole counter attack vibe? He loves it, especially against the big teams. So. He's done well with that formation against Man Cities and the Chelseas and whatnot. But my issue with him is when we go to a Burnley, we're just going to sit back and put 2 banks of 4 behind the ball. How would that 3-5-2 formation even work? And then if you do make it a 4-3-3, how can we then break teams down? Against the bigger teams, that 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, however you want to call it, work against all the teams, 10th and lower.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry about that, Miles. You cut out a bit. Can you rehash the point? You just cut out a little bit. My apologies.
Oh, no problem. Am I good now? Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
good
you're
now.
good.
It's my fault. Yeah. Go on.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that the 5-3-2 and stuff, it works against bigger teams and whatnot, and that's where Ollie has found a lot of joy. But then you can't take that formation and then play Burnley with that, or play Newcastle with that, because they're going to put 2 banks of 4 behind the ball, and then they're literally going to say, yeah, you have the ball, and then you show us what you can do. You break us down.
They're
So
basically
which is why-
doing to us what we do to the big teams.
Yeah. And the thing is, all the lower teams are going to give us the ball, but Ollie's style of play is that he loves to give the other team the ball, which is why we can beat a City and whatnot, because City have the ball, we soak up the pressure, and then we counter-attack. Like, for example, when Rashford was fit, that's all we would do, do you know what I'm saying? And then we would win games against the big teams. But then, we've been slapped by Burnley, we've been slapped by Watford and others as well. So when those lower teams come to us, obviously, you can't play a 3-5-2 or 5-3-2. You have to play a 4-3-3, and then you're asking them, can you coach your players to get through a solid defensive line, because obviously this lower team are going to defend against you, and he failed miserably almost every time.
That's true.
It's a good point.
That is true.
But do you know what? Do you know why I think the 4-3-3 doesn't? Not that it doesn't work, but I think it's a personnel issue. I think, and it's one position which has been the bane of our life for a few seasons now. It's the right wing position. I think if we do have a proper right winger, and by proper I mean James can play there. Lingard can play there, but none of them have played their whole careers as a right winger. Do you get what I mean? So I think next season, don't get me wrong, with how our team's going right now, I would be very excited to see us play with a three-man midfield.
But that's what,
and a Rashford on the left, Martial in the middle, and
I say Sancho, for instance.
A right winger, a player of that ilk. Yeah. That's when I think that formation
Before
could
we
work.
move on from this point, which we will get off in a second, the 4-3-3, that's when he had his best form, is when he came in and he was playing that system. We have that. To me, we have the personnel for it. For some reason, he completely went against it, because that was his best form. When Solskjaer came in, he was playing 4-3-3. So why he deviated away from it, I have no idea.
Lingard's drop off in form.
It was a Lingard's drop. So then, if it's Lingard's drop off in form, bear in mind he's probably the least out of the front six, the midfield three and the front three. He's the least most important one. You play, Dalot can play there. Try him there. Don't switch the whole system because Lingard got injured or Lingard's form dropped off. To me, that's crazy.
Yeah, I hear you, but I think that then comes down to his experience.
Yeah, but
is he brave enough to make that? I don't think he's brave enough to make that decision. I know exactly what you're saying. The point is exactly right. I feel the same way.
If that's Fergie, he plays Dalot there.
Just play Dalot there.
Dalot. If that's Fergie, he plays Dalot there, and Dalot probably becomes that position.
The thing is, I think he has all the attributes to go in there. But yeah, go on, Stro. You want to point before we move on?
No, I was just saying.
All right, so what we will move on to, obviously, because we have Cameraman Miles on the show and that, talk about fan channels and how some people are so pro fan channels and some people are so anti fan channels. Obviously, you're there in the heart of it every week, even sometimes twice a week at every United game. So you see the good and bad of it. So what are your thoughts on it for people who are pro and people who are anti fan channels?
Yeah, I mean, I've never personally, obviously, I've never had a problem with fan channels. I always say to, because I'm quite heavy on Twitter and whatnot, I always say to people who kind of ask me about United Stand, is that I started off watching the channel as a fan. Just like all of them, basically, all the people who watch it, I was literally one of them watching the channel and whatnot. The only difference to me was that I make videos for a living and whatnot. So I was, working my way up through the industry, and I happened to be working for some football YouTube channels, and then got in contact with Flex, and then the rest is history. I've been working with the United Stand for 2 seasons now. So coming from a fan, I'm not someone who just kind of come from a media background and just been given this job, and then I'm going to be like flying the flag for fan channels. I'm actually someone who watches fan channels and has watched them for years since they really started. And I love them all, to be honest. I think where we get a lot of negative press is from a lot of match-going fans, that have been going to games ever since they were young. And a lot of them, the demographic of haters that we have do happen to be 30, 40 and up, people who don't really understand what the whole YouTube thing is about and don't really want to understand. And that's fair play, to be fair. A lot of, people have come up to us and they're like, look, we don't really like what you do, but, we're not going to come and cause any trouble. So whenever those people come to us, we have time for those kind of people. Anyone who doesn't like what we do, they come up to us, have a conversation, and then they go about their way. They don't watch the channel, and, we don't come and, stand in their way when they're leaving the ground to go home. So where we do get trouble is from those people who've got it in their heads that we are evil and we're taking money from the club and whatnot, and we're taking money out of their pockets, even though they've paid a £700 season ticket. And we're just doing our little YouTube videos, outside of the ground, kind of thing. So it's a very weird vibe, because you have those people who are so angry with us for some reason. They'll kind of come and stand in front of the camera and try and rile us up and whatnot and try and get a rise out of us, and then they just end up making themselves look really dumb. and then they end up being on YouTube, which is the one thing they say they hate.
No, this is it.
Go on, Stroke. Go on, Stroke. All right.
I seen it yesterday. Actually, I seen.
Yeah, it
I
was
think
Adams.
I watched one
It was
yesterday.
Adams, the tall white guy who looks like Matic.
And obviously, and obviously that was me filming.
Yeah.
And you know, what I started doing now is because I'm done with it. I'm fed up. Like Flex is cool and calm, yeah. Flex always laughs at me because I have had enough, bro. Like, whenever it's like you know what it is, yeah. It's like these, and thing is, what a lot of people don't see is, yeah, a lot of these guys come up in your face, yeah, and start like waving fingers and like shouting and this and that. And where I'm from, I grew up in South London, yeah. If you come up in my face, yeah,
It's instant violation, isn't it?
It means you want to do something, yeah. But obviously, we're doing a job one, we have to keep calm and whatever. And so these guys do get away with murder. So what I just started doing is just filming these guys, make a fool of themselves because they look like idiots. They look like mugs, to be honest.
They do. I like fully agree. And what I still can't get my head around is that people blame the United Stand and other fan channels of other clubs for the bad results on the pitch and the bad performances.
Yeah, like that's got anything to do with it. There's no correlation with it whatsoever.
Correlation. Like
correlation.
like you holding the camera outside the ground and filming has no correlation if United win or lose or draw.
Do you know what's mad?
Go on.
They're gonna blame the United Stand, which all right then, it has a very big following. Yeah. But we'll place no blame on Sky Sports. The news,
With no Sky or BT
MEN,
Sport,
BT, who have international
BBC.
coverage,
Match of the day.
who are everywhere you look. They don't blame them, no, do they, Miles?
The thing is, they get the exact same points that people make on Match of the Day, BBC, Sky, in the same pundits in the studio. People are making the same very similar points outside the ground.
Let me just say this, yeah. I sit in the ground, most weeks, For example, the game where Martial scores that sick little chip, I'm sat next to a guy who the whole game was slagging off Martial, absolutely ripping into him, And then I promise you not, I tweeted it and I was not lying, People thought I was chatting rubbish, This guy was slagging off Martial the whole game. The second he does that chip, and then everyone starts singing that 50 million or whatever. This guy is singing that song the loudest, standing right next to me. After he's been slagging him off the whole game. But then the people who come on our channel are the ones who are like the bad guys for coming and speaking their mind. When you're just being a hypocrite more time, and more time, you're actually saying worse stuff than someone like what a Saeed or an Aaron will come on and say. So I just don't understand it. The people that come on pretty much reflect the same thing you think, except they're saying it on a forum where other Man United fans can listen to it.
Yeah, can I just... That's what I mean. Can I just make this point, though?
Go on, sure.
From a fan standpoint of view, so obviously, big Liverpool fan. Obviously, I've seen United Stand a lot, because I just like fan channels, you know what I mean?
Fan channels are great. Just put out there, like, fan channels are great. I love the United Stand as a United fan. Arsenal fan TV, chill is one of my favorite pastimes. Arsenal fan TV and chill. That is great. Go on.
But this is the thing, though, right? So you've got certain fans that genuinely believe that these fan channels are taking money out of the club, right? Do they honestly not believe that if Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, they could have easily just gone, all right, you want to hear from the fans? Through our YouTube channel, you can have this. They could have done that. Every single one of them. They didn't do that. So therefore, as a fan, the one thing I want to listen to, because you listen to the likes of Graham Souness, who half the time doesn't understand what he's talking about. He's clearly past it. He's ancient. He hates Pogba. He needs to move on, right? Because you're not getting a real sense of what is actually happening. So then the reason why fan channels are so big, the reason why United Stand's so big, why the Redmen's so big, why Arsenal fan TV is so big, because it's real conversations with real fans who go to the games.
Not censored either.
Not censored. They talk their points, and you know what? You can relate to it. Do you know why? Because I'm a fan as well. United could have done this. Liverpool could have done this. They could have had fan channels through their own club. They didn't do it. So let's just cut this crap for a second. At no point are fan channels ever taking money from United or for any club. It's not happening.
It's big facts.
Not happening.
What I don't get as well is people like you were talking about clubs and Sky and BBC and Match of the Day, there's certain things they won't say. They have their own agendas and things of that nature. They are not going to come out, they'll praise to high heavens, but they aren't going to come out and criticise, unless it's Souness and Pogba, That's the only person who'll do that. He's the only one. Unless as soon as I'm Pogba, they won't criticize.
I'd love him to see him face to face.
Yeah, they won't. Yeah, they wouldn't criticize the way that me and you were talking about, me and Miles would talking about United, or Stroll talking about Liverpool. Like you said, it's the real conversation.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand, people, is not censored. You can have someone. I've seen United stand. You all know this. Obviously, Miles in it filming. Man, like Ricky. Like, he is so pro. He's pro Ollie. You think Matic is the next Maradona. Like, he fully, like, is fully on the Matic bandwagon, Ollie in. We need to play Mato. And then you have someone who's like Saeed, who's the complete opposite. Why do people have an issue with that? The reason why I think people have issues with these type of things is because not what they're saying, it's because they have a voice and it has a following. If the United stand had 5 subscribers and did 5 views, nobody would care. But I think because of the numbers and people taking notice, that's what it is. Because some of these fan channels are doing...
People are upset that they didn't do it.
This is what I'm saying. Upset they're doing it. And also, when you got a fan channel doing 250k, 300k views in a night, that's taking eyes away.
Of subscribers.
Yeah, that's taking eyes away from your BTs, your Skies, etc. People don't like it.
Do you know what I think it is as well? And you made this point there as well, Miles. You know, like you're saying, it was the older lot who you tend to get the trouble from. I think that is just generally down to they're out of touch with modern society.
Okay.
Yeah, because think about it. When new phones come and they're like, oh, how do we use this? Because they don't understand.
These same people probably don't have social media. Yeah. They probably don't understand. So they're probably seeing him with a camera, and he's thinking, oh, he's put that on YouTube and he's got how many views? He just made £1 million off United. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I think it is.
That's what it is.
I honestly think that's what it is. That's why I think it was, like I said, I was watching one of yous, one you did, and a guy was just turning around swearing at yous. You turned the camera around and he was just swearing, and then Flex laughed it off. Mm-hmm. But then I generally looked at him, as you said, he looked about 40, 50. Yeah. And then it went back to the crowd who were stood around, and they were all generally, say, 35 and under.
Right, okay.
So that's what it is. It's kind of they're out of touch with modern society.
And then all I'll say is that maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh in terms of pinning it on a certain age group, because you do have a lot of what you've got Rick as a major thingy to say that there are older people who get what we're doing and actually want to have their voice heard. And we have a lady called Barbara who comes on. She must be. Shout out Barbara. She must be the oldest person who comes on.
Is Rick the older gentleman?
He's the older guy, yeah.
Yes, I like him. See, I like him a lot because he's not afraid to say his opinion. Yeah. But like you said, he's not one of them who has anything against you. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So he needs a lot more applause than he's getting, because he's not just following. For a lot of, you know what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Yeah. A lot of older generation would just follow with what theirs are doing. Do you get what I mean? And
he does have like I stated, very unpopular opinions, but he'll state his opinion. Yeah. Like, he fully, week in, week out, will state his unpopular opinions, and you have to respect that.
Yeah, but that's what makes fan channels so great, is because you've got diversity in the crowd when you're actually at the football games, which is the reason why you want to go to football games in the first place. Yeah. And then you've got the diversity on the fan channels, and for the people who, for whatever reason, can't make it to the games, you get the opinion of the fans that are actually at the games, and that's why fan channels are so amazing.
And that's why they do pop off to the point where they do. Like, fan channels do numbers for reasons. Yeah. There's reasons why fan channels
it does relate to everyone, because if you think about it like this, right? I have my view as a fan, and I'm standing behind the camera. How many people do you think I hear that have a different opinion to me? Right? I hear so many different people that have different opinions. So half of the time, I'm screwing my face behind the camera thinking, how on earth are you saying this? Like, when Ricky, when Ricky says Matic is the best player ever, kind of thing.
You're probably dying to get your bit in.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because Flex is holding the mic, more times you can't hear me just screaming. Like, I'm just like, what? Kind of thing. So it's all, it's all, everyone comes and has their say, everyone has different opinions. So why, as me, as someone who, for example, doesn't really want Oli to be, our guy, why can I accept that someone else is going to have a different opinion and I stand behind the camera? I could easily ruin Rick's on camera and put my hand in front of the camera or throw the camera around because I'm upset at his opinion. But no, everyone deserves their opinion, regardless of what they think. I may not agree with it, but everyone should have their time to say what they want to say. So, and I think the people that don't like us, they kind of see the majority of people say maybe they want Oli out, and maybe that is how how the majority of the fans feel around the world. Not just you who go and sit in the ground every week. Maybe the majority of people do want Oli out. So I think people just need to respect people's opinions and just keep it moving. And if you don't like it, like, just don't come in our faces.
Yeah,
Don't come over. Don't watch.
You're just not going to get anywhere. You don't intimidate us, like nothing like that. Like you just look like angry old men, to be honest.
Bitter. You know what it is? It looks bitter.
It does look bitter.
Because do you know what it looks like? And I think, as I said, I think it's an out of touch thing. Because I think it's a case of back in our day we couldn't do this, or do you know what I mean?
That type of thing.
I honestly think that's what it is.
I've heard older people say that, it wasn't around in 1980s or the early 90s, because YouTube wasn't around.
Bro, because what are you going to do in 1980s? Get the big camcorder out. Do you know what I mean? You're going to get the big camcorder out, then put it on VCR, then get the VCR to the CD, then get the CD to the computer. No, that's why it went out.
That's true.
Teletext them.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Teletext days. Oh my
that's exactly what it is. I just honestly think it's
they just
like,
out of touch.
They're out of touch.
Because you did have, I'm not sure if I've seen the show again, but obviously you all know this, Miles. You had the older guy who started his show. There's a white guy, I can't remember his name. He had a show with Saeed. Well, he didn't have a show with Saeed, and he was kind of the older generation, and he was talking about social media. You know what I'm talking about? I can't remember the guy's name.
Yes. Oh, flip, his name's just gone out of my head. We've seen it all the time. Yeah, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah,
Tony.
Yeah, Tony, that's it. Because his show was kind of, he seemed like he was trying to understand, but he just seemed like he couldn't get his head around it. Couldn't grasp what social media was and why Saeed goes on, because he was with Saeed specifically, why Saeed goes on United Stand regular and gets his opinion across. I hear that.
Yeah, but that's why certain players get stick as well, because the older generations don't understand why is Pogba on here again? Souness is the prime example.
Souness is like a bitter uncle, man.
Am I lying?
You're not lying.
Souness is like a bitter uncle.
That is exactly the reason why he goes after Pogba time after time. One, because I think he's a closet racist.
Yeah.
Secondly, because he just doesn't like anything that's not in this bubble of what he's used to.
To the point where even the presenter was like, you can't keep talking about him and he's not even playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, why is this guy a topic of conversation?
Chill out. He's not even playing. He's injured. Relax.
Yeah, but why has it took Sky Sports and Dave Jones 6 months to say something?
That's about a year.
What's wrong with you?
That's about a year, man.
Yo, this guy is always, every time, because I tune in and out when he's on. This guy just seems to be constantly mentioning Pogba on a regular basis.
But you see, now, all right then, see, I was watching Souness for 6 months now. And him thinking, oh, bloody hell, this guy shut up.
Yeah.
That's probably pushing people to fan channels.
That is that type of thing, because people don't like it when it seems like it's personal.
Do you know what it is?
That's what it is.
I think Sky Sports get it spot on when it's Carragher and Neville. Them two, spot on.
Yeah.
It's when it's like Souness, Carragher, and then it'll be Redknapp.
Yeah,
it's like, well, wait, mate, sorry, is this the Liverpool show? Or do you know what I mean? Or it's always like, they always have it swayed towards one.
There's not
too
enough
much.
of a mix.
Yeah, but...
Yeah. It's never like... I think it works best, like I said. That's why Monday Night Football was so popular.
Yeah, it was. Because
in its prime. Because it was literally one side and another side.
And they both could see each other's points.
Yes, and
they
they're both
weren't
very
biased,
opinionated.
actually.
Yes.
Like,
do you get what I mean?
Neville would compliment Liverpool, and then Carragher, he spoke the most sense out of all pundits to me on Manchester United. He's the one, he sounds like Stroh when he's like, this is like Saeed's favourite sentence, this is Manchester United Football Club. Like, that's a common thing that Carragher said, like, who's making decisions and things like that. He's criticising, like, we believe our ex-legends should be, but that's a whole nother debate.
But then that's why I think, as we said just previous, that's why the fan channels are doing so well.
Yeah, but you even see it when Sky Sports are now started incorporating fan channels into, like, so for example, when we played Hughes last year, you had United fans and you had Redman on there.
Yeah.
There's a reason, because they know how popular they are.
Even Match of the Day.
Yeah,
Match of the Day do it as well now. I've seen it on, Football Focus, sorry.
Okay.
I've seen them incorporating, I think it was that guy from Tottenham, sorry, I always forget his name.
Expressions.
I think he was been on there. There's a few other people.
Yeah, so it was like
before
the North London derby, they had, I think it was DT and and troops, and I can't remember who the Arsenal legend was. Then you had Jamie O'Hara and
Okay.
a couple of. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
I get what you're
Sky
saying.
Sports.
Yeah.
Like, I've obviously listened.
Yeah.
That's why
Seeing how popular fan channels are and gone. Oh, wait a minute, we need to start incorporating these here.
Exactly that. That's why Sky Sports had their open thing where they had during the
Yeah,
January
this is what I'm
transfer
saying.
window.
This
They
is
had
what I'm
flex, they
saying.
had expressions. They was having different people on from different
Yeah.
fan channels and things like that. But yeah, off that point of fan channels, obviously United did beat City at the weekend. But let's talk about Manchester City, and I'll get your view on this, Miles, because I already know where these two are going to go, especially Stroll. Do you think it's the end for City, and do you believe it's the end for Pep as well?
Definitely the end for Pep.
Okay.
I think whether not in terms of him being a good coach, just in terms of his time at City, whether he leaves at the end of the season or he leaves at the end of next season. And I also think with the ban that they've probably got coming in, if it does come into effect, he says he won't leave this season, but boy, if he's just saying that, he could be saying it just to save face, or he could actually do the whole of next season and maybe leave then to just prove that he's not just running away from the situation. But I definitely think for example, when I say his time at City is done, whether he leaves or not, and I don't see City really being as dominant as they have been anymore. I think people have their number, and I think also with the ban coming in, they're not going to be able to do much in terms of signing players and not being in the Champions League and whatnot. So I think Pep is definitely done there, and you may slowly start to see the demise of City itself in terms of being a football giant. So yeah, what I'll say is watch the space on them, because I can see the signs of them slowly, coming down to those of us level who used to be up there but are slowly falling down the table.
Okay, so let me ask you this: so you don't believe, say for instance, the summer comes, obviously they finish second, they don't win a trophy. Pep decides to stay, they don't get a ban, and then they just have the owners just give him 800 million to spend. Pep spends the 800 million. Do you not believe he can spend his way out of trouble?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
If they don't get the ban, then they can do what they would. If they don't get the ban, it literally tells everyone that City can carry on doing what they were doing, which was spending a bunch of money, having a subs bench that is worth millions, hundreds of millions, and it means they can carry on. So if the ban doesn't go through, it means it's a free-for-all, and it means that City will probably rise to the top very quickly because they have more money than anyone, and they can spend it in whatever mad ways they want to. So yeah, if it doesn't, it's a very sticky situation, because if the ban goes through, then they can literally do whatever they want, and they can become that giant again. When I say become that giant, I mean win the Premier League again and possibly go for the Champions League. But if the ban does go through, then it looks a bit troubling for them, I think.
All right, Stroh, what's your thoughts on it? Because you always got a lot to say about Pep. You know what I mean? So I call this the Pep segment. You always gone in for him. So do you not believe if they, like I just said to Miles, if City they don't get banned from the Champions League, they have no ban, and the owners give him 800 million to spend, do you believe he can spend his way out of trouble to then come and challenge Liverpool, say, next season?
Here's the problem. He's got... How much money did he spend in the summer?
How much did he spend? I'm sure you'll tell us. I cannot remember.
No, I'm not with it.
So, Rodri, 58 million.
All right. Rodri was 58 million. Jeez. Yeah, go on.
So that's just one player.
Yeah.
Liverpool spent 4 million. We're 25 points ahead, right? Against the greatest ever Manchester City team. We spent £4 million.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the problem he's got. Can he spend, or will he spend is the question. If, for example, the ban doesn't go through, like Miles said, and he does stay, problem he's got is, he will have a war chest.
Yeah.
He loses one game, he's under the most pressure he's ever been under in his career.
That is true. It's all
The
or
most
nothing.
pressure.
It is all or nothing. But I believe people do call him a checkbook manager, and I can see what they say, because JV, you've said time and time again on here that he doesn't improve players. But one thing about him is he is an excellent checkbook manager. He can definitely spend his way out of the trouble to close the gap. I see what you're saying in terms of him losing the one game, but with the level of the Premier League, if he does spend that money, being as good as he is, and if we all know, if Pep gets the players in that he wants to get in his system, they're a problem. It's just if he can get them.
I don't know.
Go on, why not?
Because now, I think it's a point Miles just made. It's not just City's... It's not a fact that City have been bad, It's not the fact that City have been bad They've not been very bad, you know. It's the fact that people now have their number. 4 games, right.
Go on.
He's the greatest manager in the history of Manchester City Football Club.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
We come on this show every week. We debate whether we even want Solskjaer anywhere near ours. He's beat him 3 times out of 4.
That's true.
So I'll go back to my usual, which I do to take the mick, my playground tactics, I've beat you 3 times out of 4. I'm better than you.
That type of thing.
But no, and I say that in jest.
Yeah.
But
propaganda. I understand.
you've got to look at it. Right, Solskjaer knows how to beat him. Klopp knows how to beat him. If you go off this season, Nuno at Wolves beat him home and away. He knows how to beat him.
So people have started to get his numbers.
It's becoming like I said to you before, it's not the Bundesliga where you're going to maybe have one good, where you're going to play Dortmund and they're going to give you a match and you've got to do something for this match. But the rest of the matches, you can play Alaba centre-back. You can work things out, This league now is too much for him. I think this was the problem. I think this was Mourinho's problem as well. When Mourinho's fell down because they're used to 2-horse races. They're used to 2-horse races. They're used to having and just look at it. It was them 2 in Spain.
Yes.
They're used to having one other manager who right, this is like the gauntlet. This is like...
this is the game where I have to do something different.
I'll have 2 matches against this guy this season and it's going to be like 2 finals.
Yeah, right.
Do you get what I mean?
In the Premier League, you can go away to Norwich and you can get beat.
Yeah.
This is unlike any other league.
You can have... I'm saying you've got 2 matches where you play in the same team twice. If you look at the top 7, you can say they've got 6 matches, 6 teams. That's 12 matches.
Yeah. Great maths for a minute. We got the maths
I did the maths this week.
We got the maths right this week.
So that's 12 matches, Then you've got your Burnleys.
Away.
You've got your Burnley aways and your
Southampton's aways.
Your Southampton's, your
Newcastle away.
Newcastle away. Even throwing a Watford. Someone who's just come up as Sheffield United. It's a different monopoly, the Prem. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Where you're coming up against different, whereas in Spain and Germany, teams are playing
it's
very
similar philosophies and similar styles of play.
Yeah.
So you can look like the greatest manager of all time in them leagues. Reality, there's only one greatest manager. And I hate to say it's Fergie.
There's no Stoke.
Because you see how he managed. You've seen how he managed his way through things.
Do you know what I'm saying?
He's right. Go on. Sorry, I'm just laughing at him saying there is no Spanish Stoke. You are right.
No, there's not.
Spanish Burnley.
There's no Spanish Burnley.
There's not, and this is the thing. So Guardiola, for the first time in his career, has lost 7 league games in a season.
That's the most in his whole career.
That just shows how bad the other leagues are.
Yeah.
You can only lose 7, and that's the worst. Have a word. There's no competition.
So
Real Madrid, that's it.
Has this season proper derailed Pep from being in the conversation of the greatest of all time?
Yeah. He spent. We spent £4 million with 25.
What do you think, Miles? Do you think it's the? Did you at first? Let me ask you. Did you have him in the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you can't have him in the conversation.
Yeah, you've got to have him in the conversation.
The fact that go on.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to see what you guys are saying, but and I do get he has had a lot of money to spend, but I don't think you get that amount of money to spend without being one of the greatest.
True.
I think if a Jose Mourinho goes somewhere, you really should give him the money that he wants, kind of thing. I know we didn't give it to him, but if a Pep goes anywhere, you really should back him with the money that that comes with his reputation. So yeah, I know he has been given a lot to spend, but that's not because he's not just any manager that's been given that amount of money to spend. He has proven it, and I know he has proven it with the biggest team, but he still has proven it. So I don't really buy the argument that he's been given all this money, so that's why he looks so good. No, he actually has a clear way of playing football, and he now has some cash to spend as well.
No, I hear what you're saying. So the fact being said that you have him in the conversation for greatest of all time, has this season he's having currently changed your opinion on that, or do you still have him in that conversation?
Or is he not as great as you thought?
No, not really. It's not really changed my mind on him.
Okay.
Because Liverpool are having the season of their lives, but City have been dominant before Liverpool even had this season. You know what I'm saying? Liverpool haven't really been sniffing around like that. City have been dominant over the last 10 years or so. So and their only fault is that they can't, and I don't think they ever will, win the Champions League. But even with, their negative results, I mean, they could still finish on a points tally that might win a league. You know what I'm saying? I just think, obviously, Liverpool have done too much this season to be caught. And obviously, City has slipped quite a bit. But, I mean, in terms of their points tally, come the end of the season, for all we know, they might end up having a points tally that could win a title any other year.
In the previous years, yeah.
See, my point with the whole Guardiola thing is I'm critical of him because I know how good of a manager he is.
Yeah.
And I know how great he is.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm so critical is because, and I keep going back to this point, and it's a point that we've touched on a lot, is we spent £4 million. So no. So just listen. So what did Klopp do? So what did Klopp do? Klopp went back to his players. We finished on 97 points. Yeah. Any other season, we'd have won a title.
Big facts.
And we'd be going for back-to-back titles, right? But that City squad was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we pushed them right to the end, right? So we won the Champions League then, right? Mm-hmm. Klopp then goes, right, we don't need to spend more money.
Yeah.
I'm happy with what I've got. I'm going to coach. I'm going to improve you on the pitch. I'm going to work on different systems, different tactics during games. I'm going to move Henderson to certain positions. I'm going to move Trent further forward. I'm going to work on Robertson. I'm going to work on Fabinho. I'm going to work on different things that will help us, guide us to the title, right?
Yeah.
Good manager. And I'm not saying Guardiola's not a good manager, but whenever stuff goes wrong, he always goes to the checkbook first. And that's always been my issue with him. And this is something that JV said plenty of times is, you look at it, he's not improved John Stones as a player.
Not
True.
Not improved John
Probably
Stones as a player. Otamendi didn't improve Otamendi as a player.
Probably gone worse.
He had Mangala. Didn't improve Mangala as a player. Got rid of him.
He's had however many fullbacks and got rid of him. Yeah, Mendy.
Right, he's playing Zinchenko in the Manchester Derby because he doesn't trust Mendy as a player. That's your job as a manager to improve him. He's made, don't get me wrong, Sterling has hit some real heights.
I think he's still in Bissaka's pocket, but go on, continue.
Yeah, no, but he's hit some real heights. But the problem is, has he really improved him that much? Over the past couple of seasons, he was there to kick on. He should have been kicked on now to the next level, the Ronaldo level. He should be in that conversation. He's not.
True.
He, in a sense, since the hype of the World Cup, he's gone backwards.
He has fallen off.
And that's the concern.
I can't say he's fallen off. His form hasn't been what it was.
So,
that's what I'll say.
So this is why I'm so critical of him, because you won the title last year. You've gone out and strengthened again. You shouldn't be this far behind. At no point should you be this far behind.
But here's my point. This is why I am personally so critical of him. We're all giving our own accounts. You know what I'm saying? But the number one for me was they were too arrogant, and the number one thing is I don't need to replace company. That's costing the league. Yeah. You can be the greatest. I'm telling you now. You name me the greatest managers going. Yeah. A player, the caliber of company leaves their club. They have some sort of plan.
Yeah, of course.
He was overly arrogant, and that alone, I honestly think the not replacing company decision alone has cost him the title, because you're playing a 34-year-old, 35-year-old, however old Fernandinho is now.
Central defensive midfielder at that.
Yeah, at centre back.
All right, so we are coming to a close. So Miles, let me ask you this before you go. I'll ask you two questions. Obviously, we'll go on this.
Started late, innit?
Yeah, we got like 10 minutes. Yeah, we got 10 minutes. But yeah, just to close, I don't want to go over and that. People, obviously, we started at a different time and all that. But yeah, I just want to get his closing thoughts, make sure he can do his whole rollout, you know, that you get me, feel me. We got to treat the guests accordingly and things like that. Lay out, roll out the red carpet, you get me, and all that. So what I ask you is, on the same thing on the Pep, do you reckon Pep will be there next season? Yes or no? Do you reckon he'll be there?
I think it all depends on this ban. So if the ban goes through, I say you've gone, you know. Okay. If the ban goes through, I say you've gone, yeah.
Does anyone know when we actually get this verdict of it?
That is a great question.
Yeah, so basically, it's going to the Sport of Arbitration, so it's an independent body. It's not UEFA, it's an independent sporting body. So then they've got to put the cases forward. So they appealed it. They had a 30-day appealing period. And then from what I believe... When are we now? March. I believe it's potentially end of April, start of May.
So that's when we'll find out if they get relegated to League One.
No. So that's when the court. That's when the case is heard, and then I think it's going to be around that time. When I think it's good.
Just by that time in there. Yeah. That's going to get adjourned, mate. That's going to get pushed back, and they'll be in it. I
don't think they'll get banned either.
No. I think if they might do, but I'm telling you, they'll probably, if that's the case, if that's when the court case is, they'll probably be in it next season.
Yeah,
because it'll probably go.
That's what I've been saying. Yeah.
No.
I think
The thing.
if at most.
So just quickly, the sport of arbitration, it can't get adjourned.
If
It
can't.
has to be decided there.
Right,
and then.
okay then. That's the point then.
So when you say, all right, so go on, elaborate, educate me on this. So you're saying because it's in that, what is it? The case
Yeah,
of what?
because
it
it's
can't get
independent.
adjourned.
No.
How come?
So,
Go on,
so this
I'm
is the
asking.
problem, right? So the case has been heard by UEFA. This is where the bans come about,
Yeah.
right? The sport of arbitration is an independent body
Yeah.
who have to then decipher what UEFA's ruling was. Is it unfair to the point where actually it is unfair, we'll overturn the ban?
Yeah.
Is it slightly unfair where you're still getting the ban but we'll slightly lower it to 1 year in half of the fee? Or UEFA got it bang on, right? That's what they need to decide. The problem is they can't adjourn that because it's escalated to a point to where it has to be decided.
Oh, so this is like decision. This is
Yeah.
basically the decision.
Yeah. So this is the final decision now.
Okay, right,
And this is the problem that City have got is the way that UEFA handled it. The things that certain UEFA spokesmen were saying that serious breaches. UEFA have got some dirt on City. Let's be real.
Yeah,
and
they
the
must do,
fact
they
that
must do.
City are now willing to spend over 60, 70 million on just solicitors shows they know how critical this decision is going to be for their 10 years going forward.
Yeah.
Because realistically, they lose this case, they're out the Champions League, Guardiola goes, Kevin De Bruyne probably goes, certain players go. You're not the same pulling power that you've got.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing. So yeah, it can't get adjourned. This needs decided. And I genuinely think that from what I've read, I think they'll get banned. I don't think it'll be 2 years.
You reckon one and no
Yeah.
relegation to League One? That's
No, I
all.
don't-
That's
nah.
what I'm banking on. I am banking on that.
It's not Leeds, bro.
I
They're not
am
gonna
banking
get
on that.
Leeds.
Like I
Man
said,
City and Salford,
that's all I seen.
Relegation.
That's all I seen is
That'll
the
be
headline
beautiful.
grab. That'd be so like I would celebrate
Yeah, they'll
for like
never
the
get
whole
relegated.
year. Like I would
That'll be
celebrate.
beautiful.
Like I'd be watching their results in League One. You know what I mean? Like it'd be so great to see that. You know the amount of banter that would be on social media if they got relegated to League One. I don't think it will happen. I just hope it does. I'm praying it doesn't. If there is a gut series, I'd inject that into my veins.
Jesus,
Miles, you
Alan,
get it.
Buddha, Jar, all of his.
So, all right, let me
helpers.
ask you this as well, then, Miles. Ollie, do you reckon he will be in the job the end of next season? I mean, the start of next season, or do you think he will be out?
Stress. I think
Stress.
I think he is going to be, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, because
Go on.
you said at the start of the show that you think. Did you wait? Sorry, actually, let me try and remember. I think you said that we're going to have a difficult run in.
No, so we have our running on paper is easy, but I can see us dropping many points because I think the only team we play, the only team we play in the top 7 in our last after Spurs is Leicester, I think, and if it's either the second to last game of the
It's
season or it's the last game of the season,
yeah.
I think minus them.
No,
team
we've got Sheffield, but that's
Sheffield
that's
United.
the one that's been
yeah, that's been postponed. So it's
Yeah.
only those two, and everyone else is in the bottom half. So we have a let me put this in brackets, in quotation marks, a favourable running. That's what it looks like on the fixture list. But you never know. But go on, continue.
No, I think Ollie will be here next season because I think out of our next 2 games, Tottenham and Sheffield, we get at least 4 points. I think Tottenham, we always seem to beat them, and I hope I'm not being too thingy, and then we go and lose to them. But I think we beat Tottenham, and we at least get a draw with Sheffield. And then I think the rest of the games, I think we deal with those teams. I think we have turned the corner, and hopefully that will see us. I think we have turned the corner, and I think
He's on
hopefully
a good run of
that
form.
will mean that. That will mean
I don't know if
we
he turned the
lose.
corner.
No, you know what it is? I get what he means by the turn of the corner. I don't think it's not tactically. It's not tactically we've turned the corner.
It's
I
not
think it's an
tactically, no,
uplift
no way.
from Fernandes and Igalo. I
Bruno.
think that's given the
they've
team a
given
lift.
Bruno thing. Said says it every time. He's player manager. That's what it is. Bruno has come in and completely transformed our team. He's now, he's a more athletic, he's more athletic and, he can actually make passes that go to their man. You know what I'm saying? All of our attacking midfielders fail to do that. So he is, obviously we need to add to him, for next season. But in terms of right now, I think he's been given Player of the Month this month.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think he's going to drag off the
Premier League as well,
bro. And I think he saved Ollie's job.
I think he has.
You know what it is? It's
last
what
one
we're
before we
saying.
go.
Just a quick point. You're saying we're based off individual brilliance.
Yeah.
If he can actually keep doing what he's doing, that will win us games.
That will
just
win us
like
games.
just like that first goal with Martial.
Yeah.
That type of thing there.
Will
That
win
with
us
Martial, because Martial is that type of player as well.
He is.
That is what will get us through those games.
Yeah, excellent. Well, Miles, thanks for joining us. Give out your socials quick before you leave.
Yeah, man, it's just Cameraman Miles, Miles with an I and a Y. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, and that's about it, man.
All right, man. Well, bless for coming on. We will have you back on whenever you're ready in it. So salute to you, man. Innit? Bless having you on.
Yeah,
Great
man.
show,
Salute, man.
Appreciate you coming on. Man, I'll shout
Thank
you
you
back
very
shortly,
much.
yeah? All right, respect as
Definitely,
always, man. Respect, man. And keep working hard, man, and putting out great content.
Cheers, bro.
All right, bless.
Much love, man.
So yes, people, that was From a Third Eye View on Pi Radio, hosted by myself, Flawless Mr. Take Note, alongside JV and Stro. Shout out Cameraman Miles. Make sure you download the Pi Radio app. Go to piradio.co.uk. Check out all the other shows as well, because it's a great station. Shout out Sparks. Shout out Big S, Dundo, and make sure you tune in next week, because we're live every Monday, 7 p.m. till